I'm a member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars, or VFW, and at one of my meetings here in Baguio City, Philippines, one of the former post commanders, a man named Alex Flores, or at least Alex, if there's more than one Alex, but I think it was Alex Flores, he made a remark during when it was his time to talk, saying that it is the official position of the Veterans of Foreign Wars to support Israel's genocidal assault on Palestine's territory of Gaza. And I didn't say anything during the meeting because I'm not going to interrupt and just argue with a man at a VFW meeting. But I had to write in our Facebook group chat. I couldn't just let it sit, pretend like I agree with genocide. And now I need to get it off my chest and post it on social media. So what I wrote was, I need to say that I disagree with what former post commander and Triple Crown something Comrade Alex Flores said at the meeting yesterday. I need to say something even if it risks alienating me from some other Post 124 members. Maybe some of you can guess what I'm going to say. Not once, but twice, Comrade Flores expressed support for Israel, and specifically its genocidal war on the population of Gaza. He said that it is the position of VFW to support Israel's ethnic cleansing, aka genocide, of Palestinians, especially those in the Gaza Strip. I believe that genocide is wrong, even when it is committed by Jews and in the name of Judaism, and that all humans have equal value. Nobody can make a convincing argument that the Jewish or Israeli ethnicity is more important than the Palestinian ethnicity or other Arab ethnicities like the Lebanese, the Syrians, and the Qataris. I am of the view that what happened in 1948 in Palestine the former British Mandatory Palestine was indeed a catastrophe, or Nakba as Palestinians call it. The forced removal of native people from their land in the best case, and the murder of the native people in the worst case, to make room for a new country, the so-called Israel. Israel is and always has been a country built on the principles of racism and hatred. It is a country of mostly white people with their roots in Europe, and they acknowledge their status as a de facto Euro-Jew colony by participating in the Eurovision contest and by playing internationally in the European qualifiers for the World Cups of FIFA and FIBA, despite being well outside any historical definition of what is considered to be Europe. I have been able to understand and have believed since the year 2000, when I was 16 years old, that Israel is an entity comprised of hateful and bigoted people who are quick to label anyone who opposes them as an anti-Semite, despite the fact that some of the most vociferously anti-Israel activists are Orthodox Hasidic Jews. I am and always have been a proud and patriotic American, and I truly believe that our land is the land of the free. I was raised reciting the Pledge of Allegiance every day at school. I'm not sure if students in the USA recite the pledge anymore. It's a shame if schools don't require it anymore. I was taught in elementary school, middle school, and high school in Missouri, Illinois, Texas, and Washington that love of the flag and the republic for which it stands is paramount. I was also taught that living in the land of the free means that we citizens, and indeed everyone treading U.S. soil, has a right to freedom. Freedom of religious belief, freedom to pursue a life that makes them happy, etc. It was also instilled in me by my patriotic teachers, especially in elementary school from 1989 to 1995, kindergarten to 5th grade, that we as Americans are tolerant of diversity. Diverse beliefs among citizens and foreigners present in the country must be tolerated, I was taught. So, from the very beginning of my school years in 1989, I saw it as both natural and patriotic to view black people, Jews, brown people, Muslims, Catholics, and all others not a white-skinned Protestant Christian such as myself as being equal. And in fact, I never referred to my 3 closest friends in St. Louis, Missouri elementary school, in my St. Louis, Missouri elementary school from 89 to 93, as my 2 black friends and 1 white friend, or my 2 Protestant Christian friends and my 1 Jehovah's Witness friend. And I have somewhat fuzzy memories, but real nonetheless, of being 4 years old in Irvine, California, and being aware that my preschool classmate Shlomo was a Jew, because either he or some adult told me that he was, and accepting him instinctually as my equal. To me, the Zionist Jews, aka Israelis, are the antithesis of what it is to be a patriotic American, and do not deserve the support of patriotic Americans. They view themselves as a superior race or ethnicity, and thus they feel able to justify the displacement and murder of a lesser race, the Palestinians, and the Arabs in general. The historical irony is not lost on me. The same race that was expelled from their European homelands and murdered just for being a member of an ethnic group has perpetuated the same horrific crimes against humanity themselves. My decision to support the decolonization of Palestine and the right of the Palestinian diaspora to return to their homeland is based on my understanding of what it means to be American and support American ideas of freedom and equality. My views are not rooted in any religious belief system. I have heard that many Christians base their support of Zionism, Israel, on their conviction as Christians, but I was raised by Lutheran parents who took me with them to church every Sunday morning for years and years, 1984 to 2006, while I lived with them, and I have no reason to believe that Jesus would have supported the modern-day country using the name Israel. I believe that Jesus, based on what I learned about him as a Lutheran, if he were here on earth now, would be in the Gaza Strip, healing the sick, comforting the children, multiplying loaves of bread and fish to feed the starving masses, and preaching resistance to the oppressors, the Israelis. I remember from church lessons that Jesus was capable of anger and violence, that he flipped over tables when he got angry. I believe that a modern-day Jesus would be flipping over tables at the UN or the Knesset, Israeli parliament, in anger over what is being done to the Palestinians by Jewish extremists. I believe that Jesus would vehemently denounce Zionism as corrupt and hateful and counter to his teachings. In conclusion, I believe that it is the morally correct, the Christian, and the patriotic view to oppose Zionism, aka Israel. I hope that while my view seems to contradict the official VFW view that Post 124 and VFW national or worldwide can still view me as the patriotic veteran of war that I am. I sent this to my father, who is the post commander in Red Hook, New York, and he said he did some research and found that it is incorrect to say that it is the view or the stance of VFW to support Israel's genocide of Palestine and Palestinians. He said that it is only the stance of the VFW is to support at all times whoever America's allies are, but to specifically for Comrade Alex Flores to stand in the meeting and say, yes, and we support as VFW what Israel is doing to Gaza, making war on Gaza, the genocide. He didn't call it the genocide because, he's an Israel proponent and sympathizer, and they don't want to call it genocide. Of course, we know, the UN knows, the UN has concluded that it is a genocide, and that is the goal of the so-called Israelis to completely erase Palestine and Palestinians.